Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe, like, and comment down below IBS because today I'm going to talk about IBS, also known as irritable bowel syndrome. I'm going to talk about just what it is, the research as much as I can. I'm going to talk about the symptoms. I'm going to talk about how I know, like how I figured out that I have it, how I deal with it, what I do personally. This is kind of my own personal story about it, but I find that there's a lot of other people out there who really struggle with it, and it really is for me it's a really big deal, honestly, because if it's not taken care of and managed and like helped out enough, it really can go, and become more of a big deal than it should be. And really do things to my life that like affect me, is what I'm trying to say. And just the coping medicines that I use, and just if any of this helps you guys out, then that's honestly what I'm going for. But anyways, look, this is my channel. So here we go. So IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, is really, from what I know from research, is a misconnection between the mind and the gut. It's the gut gets frustrated by food intakes and stuff like that. It doesn't always respond to when you eat, or like how much you eat or what you eat, all that stuff, which is really annoying. It really can play a role on symptoms such as you can be nauseous, lethargic, bloated, constipated, irritable, anxious. Because if you think about the mind and gut are supposed to be connected, or at least they always say happy tummy, happy mind, happy life, So if your gut, if your mind, I'm sorry, if your gut isn't happy, your mind isn't going to be happy either. And that's what I found out, is when my gut's like upset or whatever, I'm honestly begin to kind of become a different person. The things that I enjoy doing, I'll feel sick while doing it, which means that I'm not going to enjoy it as much, which also can make me feel depressed or anxious and all these different things. So those are just some of the symptoms. I also feel very bloated sometimes, like incredibly bloated. It's not really noticeable to other people, but to me personally it's very noticeable, and I'm just uncomfortable in it. I just don't feel comfortable. I feel really puffy, very just not myself completely, and I just have to move on past that and just do the things that I love. It also has taught me actually a lot about myself and a lot of how to cope and stuff. So when it comes to coping, this is how I do cope. So I developed it about 2-ish years ago. When I first had it, I actually thought I was a mutant. I'm not even joking. I literally was like, I'm a mutant. I am not a real person, but I am indeed. And I completely got lethargic. I didn't have any hunger cues for like 3 days, and I was like, what is going on? So the way that I cope and deal with it is I kind of self-diagnosed myself before I went to a gastroenterologist, and I'm not a doctor or anything like that. Like, this is my personal experience, but I did a ton of research when it first happened, because I was like, this is weird, this shouldn't be happening. And that's how I found out I had IBS. And it can be genetic also. For instance, my grandma has IBS, and I think my other grandma also had IBS. My family members don't necessarily have that, but they have other things such as GERD and acid reflux. We're a family full of Tums. But hopefully they don't mind me telling that. Anyways, so things that I've found out that help me manage and cope well enough are, I take Miralax every single day. I find that if I go even 2 days or 3 days without it, it really can messes with my life, and it becomes unfunctionable, because the symptoms really get bad very quickly. So I take that, and that I started taking even before a doctor. So you should definitely go see a doctor if you need to and you want to and stuff. I definitely recommend it. I have gone to a few doctors, but the last time I went to a gastroenterologist to get a colonoscopy and endoscopy, which it wasn't that bad. That experience, which I can tell in a later part, like IBS part 2 or whatever, that was an interesting experience, not really that bad at all. But I take Miralax every single day. I also take IB Guard, not every day, but like whenever my symptoms come up, such as if I'm really nauseous, if I get stomach pains, cramps, spasms, anything like that. And it's actually interesting, some people say that when they do get stomach cramps or spasms or anything like that, it can be just as bad as a period, or even worse, like a labor pain. And people who are on their periods with IBS, that's just an entire new ball game altogether. So I take this. It actually says use under medical supervision, but I started taking this, and then I told my doctor I was taking it, and he was like, no, that's great. So I don't know what your case is. I don't know if you should or shouldn't. This is just what I use for IBS. It really helps out a lot. I take 2 of them whenever I do. Sometimes I take like 2, 3 times a day, or just 2 every other day or whatever. And it does seem to help out. Other things that I do to help and manage my IBS is I have a really, not strict, but definitely a very routine exercise and diet. So I exercise a lot just for my mental and for my physical. It makes me feel really good. I love it. I really enjoy it. I unfortunately, my diet routine's not as easy. I have to eat a very low carb diet. It's actually, I've seen a lot of studies online, and I don't know if this is, proven or whatever, but I personally follow a low carb diet. I find that if I eat more fiber-rich foods, plant-based foods, and proteins, that I feel better. And I'll eat things like sweet potato and spinach tortillas. I don't know why that word didn't come to my brain. And I'll also eat a lot of things that have probiotics in it, like yogurt. Oh, and that's something I almost forgot to tell you guys. This thing it's a pill, basically, and usually I have a really hard time taking the pills because I get nauseous after I take pills, which is really ironic. But this is it says individually triple coated sustainable release microspheres of ultramin and ultra purified peppermint oil. That's a mouthful. So it's basically a capsule that has peppermint in it, amino acids, and probiotics, I believe. It should actually tell me on this, but I am, sure, what can I say it is? So I take that sometimes. I also take things like Powerades, zero sugar Powerades that really help give me the energy, like the vitamin 3, vitamin 6, and vitamin 12 that I wish I knew about earlier, which would have been nice. But those really help me out to get energized throughout the day, because it can really make you tired when you're just constipated a lot or you're lethargic a lot. You're not getting enough nutrition in, which is also something. So a lot of people that have IBS say that they have crazy weight loss or the opposite or whatever. And what I found is it's not really a symptom of it, but it's a symptom of the symptom. If that makes sense, like if you're nauseous and lethargic all day, you're not going to feel like eating. You're not going to feel like doing regular things that you would in a normal day because you're sick. You are. And because it's a chronic sickness, it can last for weeks, it can last for months. You never know when a flare-up's going to happen. You never know what's going to... I mean, there are a few things that do tell you. For instance, I know that if I have major change in my life, if I have stress, like family, work, school stress, any of that stuff, even personal stress, as crazy as that sounds. Just if something out of my routine happens, if I can't get things done, I get stressed out. So those things can cause a flare-up. If I don't exercise enough, that actually gives me a flare-up, because it's like you're sitting too much in constipation. It's like the entire world just explodes, and you're like, okay, thanks IBS, that's great, thank you so much for that. Yeah, I saw someone on the internet, they, on Facebook, they commented and they said, you know, like, I don't eat for enjoyment anymore, I eat to survive. And that's kind of a sad reality of IBS sometimes. It doesn't always have to be that way, but I would, for me personally, it's like 60-70% that way. And I'm actually okay with it. As long as I don't feel nauseous all the time and I don't feel sick constantly, I'm fine. But like, if I get symptoms such as constipation, which leads to acid reflux, which leads to lethargy, which leads to all these other nausea and all these other symptoms, then I mean, it's pretty awful and cruel. But those are just things that I do to cope. I also do relaxation techniques, like I'll do Pilates if I can. If I'm not too busy to do it, I'll try to also meditate. Excuse me. I also try to do things that are fun, like I try to do puzzles and go on hikes and other things. I can actually make a second video on this if you guys want to. Please comment down below and tell me if you want me to make a second version of this. And I can actually tell you stories of IBS that I've had in different workplaces, how I've coped in different workplaces. Different methods I've used for family gatherings like Thanksgiving or Christmas, which is coming up in like 3 days. That's crazy. Or just other things in research that we're finding. There's not enough research out there yet, and this is just, like I said, my own personal story about it, but I feel like there needs to be more talk about it. I know personally for me, I tell people in the work, you know, in my workplace and just, you know, family that I have it and just get out there sometimes. I mean, not when I first go into workplace, but after a while I'll be like, I have IBS if I'm really irritable or don't act like myself at all, and I seem like the most, you know, annoying. I'm annoyed by it, but if I seem not myself, it's IBS, it's not me. Because it does change you a bit. It really can change you a bit. It can really make life miserable, and some of the symptoms are really awful. Like if you're hungry but also lethargic, you'll go through this thing where if you eat, you get nauseous, but if you don't eat, you gotta eat stuff, and then you eat some more and then you're nauseous again and you're just like, whoa, you know, it's not fun. But I can make a second video about that where I put in stories, I put in, look, I just said the things that I've done. I just want to know what you guys want to know, you know? So yeah, thank you so much for listening to me tell you about this and for watching my video. Please do what I told you to do beforehand if you haven't already done it. Subscribe, like, click the bell or whatever it is. That's like somewhere here or here or here or here or here. And if you have any other videos you want me to do, or any other vlogs, any other stories about it, just comment down below and let me know. Thank you guys. I'll catch you guys later.